Welcome back to the Tour Daily Podcast, everybody. I'm Caley Fretz. We're going to set the scene in a bit. Maybe you can hear the ocean in the background. There's a little bit of scene setting for you. I am joined on this Tour Daily by Johnny Long. Welcome.
Hello, welcome back.
And for the last time this tour, maybe.
It's always a maybe.
It's always a maybe. Ronan McLaughlin, it's Christmas for you today, is it not?
Happy Time Trial Day to those who celebrate.
Which Johnny and I don't.
Early idea for the pod title, Tour is over, brackets, Merry Christmas. Maybe.
Maybe. All right, today's stage 5, time trial day. Remco Evenepoel won the stage ahead of Tadej Pogacar and Eduardo Affini. Pogacar moves into the yellow jersey, and Jonas Vingegaard did not have a good day.
Nope.
The French, though, they've got a new hope. Let's get to it. All right, gentlemen. We're going to stick with the racing here for the first bit.
Yep.
So Remco Evenepoel wins the stage. Not particularly surprising. I think that's what we would have predicted, right? What was surprising was what happened behind him. Ronan, how would you characterize the performances of the biggest names in the Tour de France today?
How do I do that without kicking off a huge argument between us?
No, let's do it. That's what we want.
I would classify them as abnormal and normal.
Ooh.
Explain.
Okay.
In that all the speculation before the stage and all the predictions before the stage by those who both just have a sense for these things, but also those who can calculate these things, was that Remco was going to be unbeatable on today's stage, and that's basically what happened.
Why is that? Why were they saying that?
Because despite his size and traditionally time trials being much bigger, he is the best time trialist on the planet at the moment, and this was a stage that it was more technical than we maybe anticipated, and it was certainly not as pan-flat as we anticipated, but
It's pretty flat.
it was nevertheless I went around the course. I followed Tom's scoins, and it wasn't as flat as maybe. There was a lot of false flats in it,
But no climbing.
no real climbing though. There was a couple of steeper drags, but they were like 300 meters long.
Okay.
And so it was pretty much a time trialist course, and Remco did time trialist things on it. But what I meant about the other part of that comment was that Pogacar just did, for a GC rider, and not he is an exceptional time trialist, but he's not the world's best time trialist. He's never been world time trial champion.
Yeah.
He just did a phenomenal time trial, especially considering how far off the time trial pace he was in the Dauphiné. And then you got Jonas, which I think is what you're asking me about.
Yep.
Finishing in 13th place, losing a minute to Tadej. But that to me seemed like, for a rider like Jonas, a climber, that seemed to me like a normal performance. It was just that the Pogacar was abnormal.
Is it because he's won time trials, or like, for example, was it 2020?
Is when Caley was with us.
The time that Wout won the time trial, and Jonas was like kind of backed off so that Wout could win that time trial.
Abnormal.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what we're
was,
used to. We're used to seeing that from him, and we're used to seeing him do what like Remco did today. And so I still feel like today, Remco did exactly what we expected him to do. Pogacar did roughly what we expected him to do, and Vingegaard, at least for me, didn't do what I expected him to do.
But I think on that course, he's such a small and slight rider that the course really did him no favors.
He said that he definitely didn't feel himself. He said he didn't feel he had it in his legs. There's definitely something wrong. Christian Ehrmann expected him to do much better. He was like, going into it, I was thinking, I was as surprised that he lost time as if he would have gained time. It was one of those 50-50 ones where he wasn't sure which way it would go. I think Remco made the point that with Tadej in the Tour, apart from that, the Vingegaard when he won that time trial, he's like, Tadej manages to, at the Tour, elevate his performance to ride a really good time trial when it matters. Whereas the Dauphiné doesn't really matter. Lost 30 seconds to Vingegaard on that time. Took a minute today. At the same time, if we're going to do some coping for the fact that the Tour is still on, which it very much is because it's only a minute, did we expect Vingegaard to be more than a minute back after this time trial?
There is a key difference. There was a significant climb in the Dauphiné time trial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Today's course, other than had it been out and back on a dual carriageway, couldn't have couldn't have been worse for
Ronan wishes it was out and back on a dual carriageway.
Yeah, with traffic.
Would have loved it.
It's faster with traffic. Rush hour on a Thursday evening.
Can we broaden it out a bit more to what it means for the race?
Yeah. Let's do that.
Would you, if you'd got to stage 5, when we spoke in the build-up with our preview episodes about how this first week was like I think we actually said Tadej Pogačar could be minutes ahead by the end of this first week. Granted, the first week's not over. We've still got a few tricky stages to go. But a minute back on GC, not the end of the world. I was quite pessimistic in the press room. I was like, it's over.
I thought he would lose a minute in the other stages, not this one.
This one.
And he's been fine in the other stages, and he lost it in this one. But we end up, let's say that it stays the same over the next 2 days, and we do have 2 tricky stages coming up, and then a legit, it's not quite a mountain stage, but it's a bunch of Cat 2s and things like that on Monday for Bastille Day.
Yeah.
If we get through those 3 and the gap remains the same, I would say that we're about where I expected to be at the first rest day.
Yeah.
It just came from a different place than I expected it to come from.
Yeah. I think it's just always when you're watching a time trial, partly because there's really not much else going on, so you kind of catastrophize over what is going on, which is always someone losing time to someone else, and obviously it's such a pure, stage to race that immediately you're like, that's it. Everyone pack up, go home, it's over. But then you have to get yourself out of the press, and you have to get yourself out of the press conferences and realise, actually, a minute on a flat course when they've been before today, it was only bonus seconds that separated them.
Yeah.
So
I think the fundamental question today is, was it an off day? Was it a jour sans? Was it a day without in French?
Yeah.
And or was it like a kind of an indication of overall form, or was it, as Ronan is saying, it just didn't suit Vingegaard? And I think that is possible. Like, you're right. He's significantly smaller than the other 2 that he is competing against. Even Evenepoel, right? Like, Evenepoel's sort of similar height, but probably has 10 kilos on him. And that will be an advantage for Vingegaard when we get into the Pyrenees in a week's-ish time, and certainly in the Alps, in some of those really, really hard stages at the end of the race. I still think it still feels quite balanced to me. I think that because maybe we came in and because Pogačar won last year, we come in with this preconceived notion that Pogačar is the absolute favorite, and so therefore if you lose time to him, maybe it's done. And I'm not sure that's necessarily true, because I do think we have to go back to the 2 years prior, where Vingegaard was able to drop Pogačar in the high mountains, on the Col de la Loze, on the Col de Grenelle, and he was able to get rid of Pogačar and take minutes out of him, minutes and minutes and minutes out of him. And so I'm not throwing in the towel on the Tour de France yet.
No, I did for about half an hour, but I'm back. I'm fine.
I'm heading home tomorrow, and I'm actually excited to go home and watch the race. So I don't.
Yeah, you'll have to let us know what happens.
I'm not deflated. I'm not like leaving here thinking Pogačar has it won, but I do also think it's it feels a bit different to me this year, in that I don't see an easy road back for Vingegaard into.
Oh, thanks, mate. You're just saying that because you're not going to have to sit through 2.5 weeks of Tadej Pogačar press conferences where he says nothing.
Asking better questions.
Oh, you sound like the photographers now.
We are going to talk about our beef later.
The Remco, how obviously I think that was great that he won the stage. I think it probably felt very therapeutic for him. How gutted do you think he's going to be that he shipped that time last week? He mentioned this in his press conference. He's like, this was revenge for last weekend.
But he'd be in yellow.
In the yellow jersey.
Yeah, he'd be in yellow without that one day.
Absolutely,
right?
He stoofed it.
Which, and again, I think you can kind of blame the team for that a little bit. Granted, he has to be where he has to be, and certainly GC riders before have done quite well with not spectacular teams, and they just have to take care of themselves. But yeah, a really good teammate or two would have been very helpful on a particular day. He needed Yves Lampard.
Yeah.
I know.
Where is the tractor when you need him?
Let him go to track.
But really, the story of the day, gentlemen, is none of them.
Oh, you're saying we need to talk about someone?
We need to talk about Sweet Kevin.
Sweet Kevin
VanquerCaen. Where the hell did this come from? It came from not nowhere, I should say. I mean, the guy had a pretty good Dauphiné. Sorry, not Dauphiné. He was at Suisse, second at Tour de Suisse. So he's clearly on form.
Like you guys tell me, he did stuff last year as well. Though.
Well, won a stage, yeah.
Won stage 2 of the Tour de France last year in Bologna, but that was like out of a breakaway, up a steep climb, very much in his wheelhouse. Today, time trial.
Yeah.
He currently sits in 3rd at the Tour de France. He beat Jonas Vingegaard in the time trial.
New French hope?
I mean, obviously.
Obviously.
I was on the start line and the finish line, and the French have already wholeheartedly adopted him.
Good. We need that. We need that. We need them to be excited over Ryder.
Kevin.
It's quite an odd name to chant, isn't it?
Particularly with a French accent.
Kevin. Chanting anything.
Were you chanting? You were joining in, weren't you?
No.
No?
I was busy snapping Vingegaard's skin suit.
Of course.
No, but genuinely, a good French rider is good for the Tour de France. And, we've got Julian Alaphilippe, like, it was TV.
Oh, my God.
French TV was just running, like, they've been running a daily Lulu Julian Alaphilippe, like, update on TV every single day. And we get this sort of, like, micro documentary about whatever he's been doing. So, like, yesterday, we got this whole sort of dramatic documentary about him getting a bike change. It was completely ridiculous. But that's all they've got. Well, right? Yeah. That's all they've got. Like Warren Barguil is the road captain and sort of like about to retire.
He's helping out Oscar Onley. He's like Oscar Onley's like hype man.
Exactly.
Almost, yeah.
Bardet is gone. Thibaut Pinot is out. Right.
Demar is here. Roman Gregoire.
Roman Gregoire.
Erasure today, perhaps. Should have done a better time trial.
Yeah, I didn't do much in the time trial.
Quickly on the Alaphilippe. Like insert from French TV. If you look at his quotes in the media, he's doing a good job of putting a positive spin on everything. So it's more like it's looking at the positive. It's like today it could be a good day for me. We'll see what the legs could do, rather than putting a positive spin on it. Like But then
would you say that Julian Alaphilippe understands the assignment?
He understands the assignment, and then they cut to the bus before where the sponsor is like, "A day for you, Julian," and he puts his hand out and like waves it, being like, "Not sure, to be honest. Kind of just here to like maybe collect my cash, ride out the final 2 years, sail at sunset."
Me 5 years ago.
Yes. Which is
2019.
The bit you can't say out loud.
6 years ago specifically. Yeah. No, but seriously, Kevin VanquerCaen like sitting in 3rd right now, like dramatically overperforming in what he should have done today.
Do you think he'll get the Tim Wellens treatment?
What's the Tim Wellens treatment?
So, do you think Pogacar will let him up the road over the next couple of days to take the yellow? That will be his gift finally to the French people before he goes on to win another 5 or 6 stages of the Tour.
I can't see that happening for Volkmann being that close.
But he's not going to hang on, is he?
Yeah, but riders looking to get into the break, they need to be minutes down already.
Yep.
Oh, but what? You wouldn't even allow it for a sweet Kevin?
But it won't be up to Pogacar. It'll be up to
the other guys.
Vingegaard. And it's
well,
all the rest
that'd be good. Some good 4D chess, no? I'll text Grisha.
So Kevin VanquerCaen is in a contract year.
Always helps you perform.
Arkea might not even exist, so everyone on that team might be in a contract year.
Yeah.
He has been linked to Ineos.
Oh, good. So this is the best we're ever going to see Kevin VanquerCaen race.
The problem there was that Ineos have no bikes for next year.
They've got no bikes. I feel like they'll figure it out.
Next year,
so Kevin has to make sure he keeps his bike.
Yeah.
Try and snaffle it away.
He's got a Bianchi right now.
Okay.
No, but like that genuinely, that's not to sort of rag on Bianchi here. It's less about the bike. He finished 5th today in the time trial. Again, significantly ahead of the likes of Jonas Vingegaard. Ahead of Matteo Jorgensen, ahead of like very good time trialists. He did that on a Bianchi. It's a decent bike.
They have a new time trial bike.
Yeah, they have a new time trial bike. It's probably pretty good. But like, there is no way because Joe Lindsay wrote a whole story about the budgets of these teams. We know how much money roughly Arkea spends on performance and equipment. And it is
somewhere between 0 and 10.
Somewhere between 0 and like $100, right? Like it's almost nothing. And he managed to pull a ride like that in an era where we know it's not like he's proving it doesn't matter. He's doing it in spite of it truly mattering. Yeah. And so it makes that ride actually even more impressive. And I genuinely, I think if you're a French fan right now, I think it is totally legitimate to sit there and wonder, what is he going to do over the next 2 to 3 weeks?
And that's the problem.
Yeah. I just wrote a whole story about this for the site.
Neither the French public nor the French teams can be trusted with Kevin VanquerCaen.
Not even
he
decathlon.
Needs to get out of here. We can see Britain from where we're standing here. He needs to get himself over there, base himself somewhere near the Silverstone.
No, Ineos is based
for
in
a
the
team
tax
that will
haven of
pay
Monaco. You've forgotten.
He just needs to ride for a team that will pay for Silverstone time.
I mean, I would agree with you. Like, he needs to get out of Arkea for sure, right?
He will.
It's not even Arkea's fault.
What's going to
Like,
happen here? He's going to go to FDJ or AG2R or
No.
somewhere that will pay him big bucks, and it
He
will
can
be
still live
flop
in
after
France.
flop for 5 years until he's the next Pierre Latour.
Perfect.
you just ruined it for me, Ronan.
No,
You
but I
just-
mean that's what we're trying to avoid here. That's why we're saying this on a podcast because
Yeah.
He needs to not go to Ineos.
I don't know. Dave Brailsford's back.
Who's gone? Oh, great.
He
He's
can fix
he's
him.
here as a fan.
He can fix him.
Really?
Yeah.
Enjoy, Kevin.
he could try Ineos or he could try what every other French hope has tried for the last 40 years
Yeah.
since Bernardino won a Tour de France. Going to a French
It is
team,
40 this year.
What about
expecting it to go
what
differently
about
than it
Christophe
did for everybody
Laporte
else.
going to Visma, being a bit of a domestique, but then getting your chance?
And he
That's
left,
the best outcome.
He left Cofidis and look at the wins that he's had
Yeah.
since he went to Visma.
Yeah.
Okay, he's been.
He's
sick
had
this
good.
year.
He's had good wins. Yeah.
That's
what he should do.
Yeah,
We agree.
we agree. But let's pretend that we don't.
Do you want some other reporter's notebook from today?
Yeah. What? Well, before
Or
we
do you
sort of
wanna
move
wrap
on
up?
completely
Okay.
from the bike race, anything else strike you guys from the
no,
top
just-
couple? I mean, Ronan, you were in a car behind Tom's. Did you see anything about the course that we should know? Did you see anything else while you were running around?
So I
Oh,
got,
yeah.
I got one trip around the course.
Yeah.
But it was Kim Anderson, two-time yellow jersey holder at the Tour, who was driving. And he was telling me that on course that the wind had actually flipped.
Mm.
from-
Remco said this in his press conference.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Kim Anderson was saying that when he followed a rider earlier in the stage, or that morning in the recon, it was a tailwind through the early section of the course.
Yeah.
And as the riders were heading out there, it was a headwind, and the headwind actually picked up. And so, for the riders who were off early, they actually got the best conditions on the day.
Yeah.
But still in all,
Mm.
Tadej and Remco both did in faster times, despite the more challenging conditions.
Yeah.
Obviously, when they had more headwind, they had a stronger tailwind back into
Yeah.
town. But it was one of those courses where, though it was kind of an out and back, it just seemed to be so much more headwind. And then you seemed to have crosswind for a long time. And then at the end, you had a little bit of tailwind.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So with Felipe Gana out with a crash and potential sort of like concussion, is Eduardo Affini our new sort of like first time trialist? There's always a guy, right? There's like, as in the last half decade, most Tour time trials have been won by somebody who ends up on the podium of the Tour de France, right?
Which is not normal.
Which is not normal because
Well,
back in the day,
it's
the
been
time
normal, but it shouldn't be.
back
That's
in the
also 'cause it used to be 50-kilometer time trials now.
well, it used to be 50K, but it also used to be like what? But today is a good example. Like today was relatively flat. Today was a specialist course. I think that is, it's safe to describe
Yeah.
it in that way. You would think it would get won by an Affini, or Ghana's not here, but somebody like that. Is he the new Ghana? Is he going to be the sort of like the best? This poor guy is just never going to win a Tour stage because he always gets beat by Pogacar or Vingegaard in these damn time
you
trials.
had Ghana out today. You didn't have Kung here today. There's probably other time trials I'm forgetting. Affini has been European time trial champion, but I don't really feel like he's that guy. And maybe that's because he's now serving a different role on Visma bike.
But he was given a free roll today, which some of the
Yeah.
other guys weren't,
Yeah.
right? Like, I mean, Victor Campenaerts is also a very good time trialist, and he was
Yeah, where was he?
he was just chilling. Like he was
Okay.
clearly told,
You're going to be.
you are chilling today.
Yeah.
You are. This is an active recovery day for you.
Bruno Amorai did a great time trial
Yeah.
as well. Tobias Foss caught Tom's when I was in the car,
Okay.
and when he passed us, I thought he's on a ride because he almost spun Tom's in the road. He passed him that quickly. But I
I
mean,
feel like Tom's
was
might have
chilling.
also been.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tom's was chilling. Yeah,
Yeah.
to clarify that. But in the end, I don't think Foss ended up there at all.
No.
Huh.
So
Didn't see him once.
former
I saw
time
him a
trial
couple
world
times.
champion, of course.
Yeah.
So the big storylines, which we've discussed,
Remember Evenepoel?
Jonas Vingegaard underperforming. I
Foss?
think. What are you two talking about?
Talking about when Evenepoel looked at Foster beating him in the time trial in the Worlds. He
Oh
looked at
yeah,
Foss.
and he's like, what? yeah.
Good times. Sorry.
Yep. Anyway, Remco Evenepoel did what we thought he would do. Tadej Pogacar, I think, overperformed for me relative to. I thought he'd be a little bit further behind Remco, and I thought he would be right alongside Vingegaard, who ended up for me, underperforming. Ronan disagrees. But I think 13th for a guy who wants to win the Tour de France is not where he needs to be.
I'm not sure I disagree, but I feel more confident in seeing him finish 13th than I do in seeing him finish second on a course like today.
Pogacar was surprised at Vingegaard's performance.
I think Vingegaard was he was not a happy camper at the end
Yeah.
there. He was not a happy camper. And let's keep in mind that the second time trial of this Tour de France, it goes straight up a giant mountain.
Perfect.
We're going straight up Paragoud. It's like 3K of flat. And then it goes straight up a giant mountain. And, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, Ronan, but I'm pretty sure I bet Pogacar and Vingegaard will do that on time trial bikes.
Really?
And Vingegaard will be on a bike that is significantly lighter than Pogacar's as a result.
The indication at the moment is based on spy shots and stuff that Pogacar will ride on a Colnago road bike with time trial extensions.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And then Vingegaard will be on a full-on time trial bike.
That's my speculation.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But
So
you know,
we would expect,
reserve
I
the
would
right to be wrong.
expect Vingegaard to win, maybe not win, beat Pogacar in that time trial.
I just don't think you can expect Pogacar to get beaten at anything these days.
Maybe not. Maybe not. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to set the scene. We're going to talk about Nielsen Palace's Tamagotchi. TT's our cycling versions.
Johnny missed the ferry. The ferry's heading home.
Oh,
You might
Missed it.
still catch it if you can doggy paddle.
I'm all right at swimming. We'll see.
All right, we'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. I said this to our members on Discord. We've been trying to stay with the racing early on because in previous years, we maybe waffled a little bit. There was some waffling that was happening early
Don't
on
worry,
the podcast.
Ian arrives in 40 hours.
Ian arrives in 40. The waffling will return. No, we're trying to stick with the racing for a little bit, and then we'll use the second half of the show to give you a little more vibe-based podcast. So, who wants to set the scene for me?
I will.
Well, it's Ronan's last
Oh.
podcast.
When
he
you
looked
say
at me.
set the scene, what are you actually looking for? Are you
Yeah,
looking
see,
for...
Tell me.
He don't understand the assignment.
Paint a picture for
do it.
the listeners. For
You better
those,
be nice about my
there are
country.
people watching on YouTube who can see, and we will talk about the GeoGuessr game later in the show. But for those who cannot see where we are, set the scene.
We are sitting on a wall about 10 feet above one of the beaches of Normandy. The sea is gently lapping onto the sands behind us.
It's lovely.
Alongside us, we have a row of European flags. I can see the Portuguese, the Polish, the Dutch, the Norwegian, the Luxembourg flag, Lithuanian flag.
You
and
missed the
then
Monaco flag.
There's no German flag.
No,
there's
that's
a Belgian
Belgium.
flag, there's Slovakian
That's
flag,
Romanian.
Sweden. I mean, we can't see all. There's flags all the way down there. Oh, I can see an Irish flag.
Oh no, that's Ivory Coast.
And then just in front of us, we have these seafront
Yeah.
houses overlooking
Lovely.
the sea, and what we think is Britain.
We've
We're
embraced debate this
far off.
afternoon because I cannot believe that that's how close these two countries are together. I don't go to the south coast of the UK. I don't really come up to this bit of France. It makes me believe in the UK there's a red-nosed economic relief. You'll know about that. And there's always like some celebrity no one really likes, but it's on
Swims the
telly,
channel.
who'll swim the channel, and everyone's like, wow, what an achievement. Being here today, they should swim there and back.
John, I
That's-
think you're
come
underestimating.
Yeah, but
Just because you can see it,
they raise millions
just
of pounds.
do not underestimate the power of your eyes. Just because you can see it does not mean that it is close nor swimmable.
Yeah, but come on. Come on.
It just reinforces my notion that none of these should really be countries.
A sea in between is enough. Come on.
Seas are not made
Small.
up.
It's
Borders are.
Well,
a
you guys
channel.
are trying to rename bloody seas, so I think we will leave the country shit to us for a minute. Yes, we this is the Normandy beach of this is the Canadian stretch for the D-Day.
Yeah,
landings,
we're right
is it?
near Juneau. Is Juneau Beach is right up sort of up above us. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and claim to be a World War II historian, but I think the race has been back here a couple times since I've been covering the tour,
Yeah.
and I think it was Cavendish that won here a couple years ago,
Yeah.
nearby here
think so.
anyway. And it's I think anybody who's like
cool.
been through basic high school history,
Mm.
you step onto these beaches, and it is certainly it's meaningful. You sort of look. I think in particular, you walk out to the water here, and you kind of look back up at like the perspective that all of the young men on D-Day would have seen, and you kind of can't help but be moved by that particular perspective.
Yeah. We've missed a key point of setting the scene in that sitting across from us watching is the man who made all of this possible.
My dad is here.
Yes. Been wonderful. I've now ticked off all 3 of the Frets men, so my sticker book is complete.
Your sticker book is complete. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Big day
for me. Let's get back into the bike race a little bit. We got some more things to talk about. We're now into the full sort of reporter's notebook section of this podcast. What do you want to start with, John? There's so many options.
I would like to start with one of the only other points of interest from the time trial. I would say it was a fairly boring time trial today. I'm not going to lie, fellas. I'm not the biggest fan, but I felt it lacked a bit of a...
If Vingegaard hadn't had a bad day, it would have been even more boring. But
at least one talking point.
At least we have a talking point.
The only other point was...
Plus Sweet Kevin,
is that Merlier, I think, caught Valentin Parapantra, his Soudal Quick-Step teammate. They rode into the finish side by side and then had like a fake sprint finish and bike throw. Which was quite fun.
No, I guarantee the UCI are going to find them for some...
Yes,
for sure.
Definitely.
Also, Parapantra versus Merlier.
Yeah. No, it looked funny.
Yeah.
It looked funny. It was great. It was fantastic. When Bruno Almarai was coming in to challenge Eduardo Affini's fastest time, where he was within like 3 seconds, I think. Very close. He had maybe 500 meters to go, and France TV cut to an ad break. With 500 meters to go.
Rude.
And the press room, this is one of the fun things about being the press room Tour de France. Obviously, mostly French journalists, the majority of French journalists there. Yeah. The groan that went up was just fantastic. Someone's like, what? How on earth have you had to go? You're French TV. You can do whatever you want. You don't need to go to, the adverts for. I don't even know what they advertise on French TV. I just don't know. But anyway, bizarre. So then everyone starts to look up what happened because obviously they don't go back to it after the ad break.
Nope.
Tadej united the jersey belts.
He did.
He's now in yellow, green, and polka dots.
I mean, he's such
Bring
a
back. They
Why
used
couldn't
to
he
do
this
a
when he was still
whole.
young enough to have the white jersey?
I know.
Well, they should just do a jersey that's sort of
They
like
should.
not quadrants. It's 3 of them, right? So
Trifectas? No.
Triangles. What's a
Is it a trifecta?
What's 3 quadrants, Dad? He doesn't know.
3. I think it's trifecta.
Trifecta?
I think so.
A trifecta of jersey designs.
Split in 3.
Sure.
Anyway, and they should make it baggy. The more jerseys you have, the baggier it should be. No? No, wrong. Talking to the wrong crowd.
No, I am 100%. So like, we were listening to SBS today, and part of the reason we do that is because the commentary is genuinely great. Like, they do a great job over there. It's Matt Keenan and Brady O'Donnell, and it's free. And Simon Gerrans. Sorry, different Simon. Simon Gerrans is on there. Caleb Ewan. Anyway, they've been great. They were talking endlessly today about the benefit of being in your own skin suit versus in the Tour de France skin suit, right? In the ASO skin suit, which is a Santini skin suit. And it's not so much that like the fit is bad, although like 10 years ago that was actually a genuine problem. It was like sort of like baggy and stuff. These days it's just so optimized. You've got like, I need my like rumble strips on my shoulder and my polka dots on
and that's what everyone falls in love with cycling for, the rumble strips.
Yeah, you need some rumble strips.
Damn it.
I gotta make sure the laminar flow over my left clavicle is ideal.
Stop.
I'm just making things up, Johnny.
I didn't know.
Which is also, by the way, why Kevin Vauquelin's ride is so impressive, because he had no rumble strips whatsoever. Anyway, they were spending endless amount of time talking about this particular issue, but I actually think it's a good thing. Have you guys ever played Mario Kart?
Yes. And you get the blue shell if you're further back.
You get better power-ups the further back you are. So I think that we should absolutely build the same thing.
I think every day in the yellow jersey it should get baggier. So then it becomes like a track stand GC battle where you don't want the yellow jersey and you're trying to keep your rival in it, and then it all culminates into a
make the yellow jersey wool again.
Yeah, agreed.
And you just got to rock it.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't even have a zip. It's got a little quarter. It's got like buttons.
And you have to like drink your beverages out of like glass bottles or something. And you have to have a cigarette for every day you're in the jersey.
So it's all about timing your trip to the front of the race, right? Because that's how it is in Mario Kart. Like, if you're in the lead too early in Mario Kart, we should have waited till Ronan left.
We did. Yeah.
This
is an Ian conversation.
All right, moving on.
Just on that though, there are no guarantees that
You can't let that go.
that the white jersey that Kevin Volkman was wearing is not faster than his standard B&B.
That's true. Maybe.
Oh, that's why.
Maybe.
God, after 30 minutes of talking in circles, we figured it out. Thank God.
We're going to throw now to maybe the most important update of the day, which is some of you might have seen that EF Pro Cycling, EF Easy Post, whatever the hell they're called now, they specifically the press team gave a bunch of the riders Tamagotchis.
We talked about this.
Yeah. I'm just reiterating in case somebody missed this. But we were asked by our members on Discord what's going on with Tamagotchis. Like, who let them die? Who is taking care of it? What's going on with Tamagotchis? And so we went over to EF, and we got the answers for everybody. We should note that we're not going to play this for you, but Ben Healy killed his Tamagotchi almost immediately. Right, Ronan?
Yeah.
Yeah, you asked him about it, and he was like, no.
Are they not big in Ireland?
Yeah.
They were.
They were
huge, but 20 years ago.
Okay.
Before Ben Healy was born.
Oh, so
before like all these guys were born. So anyway, I talked to Nielsen Palace, who has been keeping his Tamagotchi alive, and we got the update on that. I have to ask you about your Tamagotchi.
Okay.
Is it still alive?
Still alive, 2.5 years old.
Are you utilizing any techniques to help it grow faster or keep it alive longer? Or I honestly don't know that much about Tamagotchi, so you have to tell me.
If it starts to get unhappy, got to play a game with it, and then I'll give it a snack after I play a game as a reward.
What kind of games do you play with a Tamagotchi?
You just guess a number higher or lower than the number that's being shown. So it's just a guessing game between 1 and 10, basically. And then, you have to clean up after it. It poops sometimes. You got to feed it snacks. You either can give it a burger or a piece of cake. Cake is a snack, a burger is a meal.
All right.
And then you got to put it to sleep at night when you go to sleep.
Nielsen might be keeping it alive, but I kind of do fear that he's he's creating some psychological. He had me concerned because he explained to us how he would play games with it and then give it treats if it played the game, and that just seems to me like that's how you train a dog. That's not how you raise a child.
You're saying you're not an iPad dad?
I am, yeah, but I don't.
Yeah.
The kid, the kid gets the iPad, doesn't then get a treat for using the iPad.
Yeah, you don't get ice cream for iPadding. Yeah, doesn't work that way.
Well, Johnny. Your brain or your teeth?
Did we actually throw to Nielsen yet, or did you just jump in there?
No, that was it. You threw to
Okay, we're good. So there you go. There's the update. There's the update. The Tamagotchi is alive. We posted a video of him actually this is a candid secret on the bus video that we posted on our Instagram of him using the Tamagotchi, so you know that it's legit. Should we get to GeoGuessr?
Yeah.
We have a lot. Yeah, let's do it. So we mentioned this on the pod. Yeah.
I think we should add an element to it.
Okay.
Because people are getting very good at geoguessing.
They're really good.
I think they should have to guess what time we're recording at.
Oh, that's bonus points. It's hard to do. What? So you have to judge the shadows.
Okay. Yeah.
About at least 5 to 6 people got it yesterday. I think there might have been a logo of the restaurant in the shot yesterday.
That probably helps. So this is just like, if you're watching on YouTube, it's just C.
Yeah. You have to triangulate with the skyline of
and
Eastbourne.
specifically, we're not gonna give you this to you. So we should back up. So what we were talking about yesterday, in case you missed the show, people are using what we're talking about on the episode as well as the YouTube, like taking a look at the YouTube to triangulate exactly where we are sitting.
It's like
and
Jason Bourne.
It has been very, very impressive. Like, people have literally sent me Google image shots of the table we were sitting at or the bench we were sitting at earlier in the race. So
for today, I want to know between which. You might have actually given it away.
Well, I named the flags, but I didn't say which was closest. I just said.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. Okay, I think they got enough information.
They got information.
Is the street on Street View though? Because it's
this. Yeah, has a car ever driven down this?
It's a pedestrian street.
I reckon they've got one of the little Google robot thingies. Maybe.
Probably.
Although not sure how that would have gone down in northern France.
So, before we get to that, if you can guess where we are, hit us up. Like, send us a message on Instagram or Discord or wherever.
There are other clues as well if you watch on YouTube.
We'll give you a shout out. So the people that got yesterday's, and this is not an exhaustive list because I think a bunch of you sent it to me, and it didn't occur to me to keep a list until like halfway through the day. But those of you who I did write down, Spencer on Instagram, Simon on Instagram, Navalchek on YouTube.
Nochelvek. K. Plarking.
On YouTube. Colin on Discord. All got it correct yesterday. Well done.
Colin on Discord
Who
was the
most
original.
correct? Did anybody have it like down to the longitude and latitude?
I had people send me screenshots of the restaurant we were at with a little box around the table we were sitting at.
I can't even remember what restaurant we were at last night.
This is the impressive thing is that I have no idea where we were. I couldn't tell you.
Rune.
I mean, I knew what city we were in, but like I couldn't find it again.
It's because the one thing I'm contributing at the moment is the restaurants.
That's true.
Picking up the restaurants. Seamless.
I think you're contributing more than that, but you're doing a significant.
In terms of logistics,
you're doing a
here's
superb job.
And sitting in the back, doing the restaurants.
Here's what we're gonna do.
Stop taking the piss.
I'm keeping a list of the people that get these right.
Yeah.
I'm keeping a list. So I'm gonna keep it for the whole tour, and at the end of the tour, we're gonna pick. Let's call it 5 of you.
Yeah, and then we're gonna find out where you live and send your addresses to the police because you should be on a list.
No, we're gonna find out where you live, and we're gonna
recruit into our intelligence.
And we're gonna send you a hat. Dad, send me a hat.
Are you gonna say we should guess where they live?
Yes. Can we work out where they live?
We're gonna send you one of these caps.
These are nice ones.
These are nice caps.
I've got one of them.
And we're gonna. I was gonna say we're gonna sign it, but no one wants our signatures on something.
That.
Yeah.
Nice.
We'll get
potty mouth.
What?
Oh, sorry. I'm not gonna say. I'm not gonna.
We could try to get like a. No, we shouldn't be asking pros for signatures either.
No. Send them a hat.
We'll get a random French person to sign it, and we'll send it to you.
They might just be doing it because I don't know.
So far they are. We didn't have any surprise thus far. We got a lot of them today.
I think everything else we should cover in After Dark. There's not that much more, but
no. The Giro winner members. That's the last thing I want to do before we go to After Dark. So we got to head into Corrections Corner, which is one of our favorite corners. We have a correction and an update.
Yes.
One, I mentioned a couple shows ago that we had only one member who had won a Giro d'Italia stage. That turned out to be grossly inaccurate.
Yeah, no.
We said mildly inaccurate, but it's since become grossly inaccurate.
Yeah. So we said Casper Asgreen was the one and only Giro winner that was a member of Escape Collective. I got a text message from Chad Haga, who is a fully paid up on his own, I think maybe unlike Casper, member of Escape Collective, and I was also at the Giro stage that he won, time trial that he won, into Verona.
Sorry to
if
hear
I remember correctly, and I just hugely regret the error. I'm sorry, Chad.
Was it Verona or was it Rome?
No, it was Verona.
It was Verona.
It was the time trial anyway.
I'm 99% sure it was in Verona. Chad would definitely know.
I wrote the
he probably remembers.
It was illuminating. Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Yep.
I couldn't believe I was spending my Sunday like that. To be honest.
Anyway, we regret the error, and also Chad, thanks for being a member, and thanks for correcting me, and also congratulations on your Giro stage win. Chad these days is on the gravel circuit, riding for Felt and a couple others, and then today, gentlemen, we have a new addition to the Escape members Giro stage winner club. It's now a club of 3. Sarah Giganti, who is not only a member but is frequently in Discord and chatting with folks and hanging out. Sarah won today's Giro stage.
3 Giro stage winners.
3 Giro stage winners amongst our membership. Incredible.
Pretty good.
So congratulations to Sarah. It's awesome. And apologies to Chad. I cannot believe that I forgot that because you and I go way back and I was there, and that's embarrassing.
You're bad.
That's my bad.
What's coming up tomorrow on the race?
Preview.
We start in Bayeux.
Stage 6.
I have the book.
You have the book. Well, it starts in Bayeux, and you'll never guess what Bayeux is famous for apart from the tapestry. It is the hometown of Sweet Kevin VanquerCaen.
It is.
So it is going to pop off tomorrow. In a medium to big way.
And Josh Robinson of the Wall Street Journal, who, by the way, sent us a message the other day and said that people are commenting on his Wall Street Journal stories to say that they look forward to listening to him on the Tour Daily podcast. So if you have a Wall Street Journal subscription, keep doing that. Definitely. Keep dropping that in there. He said that we have to go see the tapestry.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it before.
He insisted. I have never seen it.
It's also got announced today that the French are going to lend it to the UK, so I'm going to be able to see it a lot more. So I might not bother, to be honest.
Okay. Yeah, we won't bother.
Will you give it back?
Don't tell him. It's a pretty big one. Pretty big tapestry.
I mean, you guys have a history of just sort of keeping things, right?
For safekeeping.
So
Oh,
I'm showing YouTube the book.
Is there any sort of copyright on that book?
Nah.
Is it okay to show it?
Nah, we're
Yeah,
right.
that's fine.
So tomorrow is a 201.5 kilometer stage from Bayeux to Vire Normandie. It has a bunch of lumps at the end. Let's go to the lumpy part. Let's go to the lumpy page. Lumpy page
Are we giving
is
a?
here.
Oh, okay.
So we're looking at a profile of the last 13 kilometers here. It's got 3 lumps. The first one is quite small. Looks like Port Horloge, which horloge is like watches. So maybe there's like a big clock at the top or something. I don't know. And then a Cat 4 climb that peaks 4 kilometers from the finish. Maximum gradient 11%. Average 1.2 kilometers at 7.2%. So that's like decent. And then the final kick up to the finish line, 700 meters at 10%, maxing out at 14%. But really the hard thing about this stage is actually, back on the previous page, it's just how many climbs there are all day. Like we've got Cat 3, Cat 3, Cat 3, Cat 3, Cat 3, Cat 4. It's not as hard as tomorrow, not tomorrow, 2 days from now. But it's a pretty hard stage. And so I think the next 2 days of any days in this first week are a pretty good bet for a breakaway.
Tomorrow's a breakaway day.
Yeah, I don't know. It all depends on the motivations. It all depends on who wants to do what. But on paper, like if you just showed a director sportif that profile and said what is going to happen this day, they're saying probably a breakaway.
What's going to happen tomorrow is that the sprinters teams are going to keep it together until the intermediate sprint.
Yep.
Sprint will happen. Break will go in the next third cat. Break will stay away at one stage.
That is also my guess. So if you
1,000 meters of climbing.
if you're making picks for tomorrow, pick a breakaway rider. That's basically what we're saying. Yeah, 3.5. Stage 7. Well, we're not going to get to stage 7 yet. I'm trying to remember which one was harder here. This is here we go. It's been a while since I looked at this book. This is the problem. No, 7's easier. 10 is the hard one.
10's hard.
10's the really hard one.
Get
Around Clermont-Ferrand.
Yeah.
Oh,
Uh,
Massif Central.
Yep.
Yep.
My leaving cert geography.
Yeah, Massif Central. Well, no, I don't know if that counts as Massif. It's the volcanic stuff. Remember when we did Puy de Dôme last year? Volcania and Puy de Dôme and like up the big thing where was it like Anquetil and
With the famous war general thing.
and we weren't allowed up.
Yeah.
That's where we go back to. We don't go back to Puy de Dôme, but we go back to that region. It's very
Yeah.
lumpy and climby, and it's Bardet country. But he's not racing.
Nope.
Anyway, that is the stage 6 tomorrow. Again, I'm thinking breakaway. You boys want to make a pick? Who's looking for the break right now?
Who's racing?
About 180 riders.
Kevin Vocal on yellow jersey.
I mean,
I'm
honestly,
sticking with it. I'm sticking with it.
like I think I actually in the preview said Kevin Vocal might win the stage because I thought he'd be like 18 minutes down by now.
I think they'll
Right?
let him.
But he's not. He's
Come on.
like
We heard
third.
Ronan and Jonny being like, the only people we have to worry about on GC is Tadej and Vingegaard about each other.
Yeah.
So they'll let him do it.
Yeah.
I reckon.
No.
Come on.
No, they're not going to let him do it.
Believe.
They're not going to let him do it.
Believe.
I'm gonna say one of our EF boys. Let's say Tamagotchi parent Nielsen Palace.
Oh, okay.
Tamagotchi murderer Ben Healy.
There we go. One. They're both going to be trying to get in that break tomorrow for sure. All right. With that, let's head into After Dark. Of course, After Dark is for members only. You need to be a member. You need to get the member feed. Then you can keep listening to the podcast. It keeps going for like another 15 minutes. We
And
talk
as
about all kinds of stuff.
last night, it does not get worse.
No, it gets better. And we go into the trust tree and we tell you what we really think about all the things. And so head over to escapecollective.com/join, sign up, and we'll see you in After Dark.